Good Friday morning, Top Fan Rivalry followers. It's Jackson, it's Bill. It is time to get the weekly review. And Jackson, how are you doing this morning?
I'm doing great. How are you, Bill?
Well, yeah, it's the weekend. I get to head on out in a couple hours. I'm going to head over to Kansas City, watch the Royals play the Astros, and sit in a suite on Saturday. So life is good.
Fun, fun, fun.
Life is good. Life is good. Lots to talk about. I got a few honorable mentions depending on if you steal mine during the week. But Jackson, talk to me about where you think. Oh.
Nope.
Jackson is allergic to baseball. I just heard him sneeze. All right. So, Jackson, what's your number one this week?
My number one this week, it's something we talked about at the top. The AL wildcard race. The surging Texas Rangers have lost Max Scherzer for the season, Bill, with a strain of his teres major muscle. For those of you who didn't take anatomy, that's in your tricep muscle group. So yeah, his arm's shot. They don't think he's going to be able to pitch in the postseason either. Bill, does this is in your mind affect Texas's ability to make the playoffs now that the AL wildcard's kind of thinned out to four teams?
Um, no, no. And this is why I say no. Because Texas basically manhandled Toronto this week, which is what they needed to do. They put themselves right in the wild card. Now, believe it or not, the Seattle Mariners have it the toughest. But remember, of the last 10 games of the season, the Texas Rangers have 7 of the 10 with Seattle. So it all depends on that. Does Max Scherzer hurt them? No, I think where he hurts is eating up innings in the playoffs. That's what hurts him.
All
So,
right.
but what do you think?
Now, I think it's a fairly big blow. I know their starting pitching started out really strong, and then it's kind of they've been on and off with injuries. But like you said, they need innings, especially this late in the season. You need guys to eat innings because you can't be gassing your bullpen in the middle of the end of September because they're already running on fumes. They played a
Yeah,
full season unless you've been shuffling your arms up and down a ton. Like I know most teams do that, but they're still like your main guys are going to be gassed at this point in the season. You need the starting pitching to step up. And I know Texas can score a lot of runs, but playing a rival like Seattle 7 times who pitches really well, those are going to be really close games. I think that's going to hurt them because Scherzer might have started 2 of those games, and they might have needed a good
yeah,
starting pitching performance in 2 of those games. So we'll see how it turns out. Uh, you hate to see it, especially 2 weeks before the postseason. Um, but
yeah. No, absolutely, absolutely. Well, again, yeah, I I think Texas is getting in. I just don't think that Texas is going to make as far of a push because of their pitching. Now, who's the person that has to worry the most from the Rangers? Let's say Texas does get in, and let's say they outdo the Astros, and now they're in the divisional series, not um not the wild card series, depending, right? Because whoever wins the West will have that first season or that first series off because they're gonna have a better record than the Twins. So the Twins are gonna have to play in the wild card round. So let's say they have that off, and then they go to the divisional series and they can put together a string of wins. Okay, now what happens? You know who should be worried?
uh, Baltimore,
Jacob DeGrom,
Jacob DeGrom.
because the if the Rangers go deep in the playoffs without him doing anything, they may look at it and say, I know we still got to pay this guy, but he's not our focus anymore. I mean, it's weird to say, but true, right? Weird to say, but true.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure they could use a guy like Jacob DeGrom right about now, but
Could they? I mean, Jacob's career isn't exactly stellar numbers. He had 1 or 2 good seasons,
when he's good, he's really good.
but when he's not good, he's not very good. right? So,
Yeah,
okay,
take the good with the bad.
exactly. Okay, so here you go. Here's my number one. 81 hits this season, 18 home runs, 44 RBIs, batting 263, 308 at bats, played in 82 games this season, and is now on the trade market. Welcome to the land of Crazy Town in Anaheim with Michael Trout on the trade block. The Angels announced this week that they would accept offers for Mike Trout. Interesting to me to see how that plays out. Jackson, is that a good thing for the Angels to consider trading Trout and wherever they're going to be with Ohtani, or do you think this is a bad move by them?
I think at this point it's a bad move. Because the trade Trout, you're going to either A, have to eat a ton of money, or B, not get anything back. And I think either situation in trading a player like Mike Trout is undesirable. Because you're losing either way. I think it would be better to have Trout because of how, professional of a guy he is.
Mhm.
He'd be a good guy to help the Angels. The young team they have coming up, they have some pretty good young players, but kind of mentor and help those players up. I think Mike Trout's kind of like the perfect guy to do it. So I think it would be a mistake to trade Mike Trout, even if they're bad for the next couple of years, because they're still probably gonna have to pay the contract anyways, or at least half of it. So you might
Mhm.
as well get something out of it, you know?
Yeah, no, I agree with you. It's a unique scenario. It's a very unique scenario to be in. But trading Trout, even if you have to eat a little bit of his salary, let's say you have to eat 10 million every season of his salary. So you have to eat $70 million over the next 7 years. You free up cap space, first of all, and you can start with younger guys and you can try to make that momentum shift where you're not getting it right now. Remember, Trout's been an Angel for what, 13 years, and they made the playoffs one time. They haven't won a series yet. They had Trout and Ohtani for a number of years, and they still haven't put anything together. I don't know where you go with that, right?
I'm just saying, who do you trade him to though? You
Philadelphia.
know, Philadelphia. You think Philadelphia will take him? They have 6 outfielders already.
Yeah, but he's a hometown kid, and he's going to put butts in the seats.
They have Bryce Harper for that though.
And now they have Mike Trout.
They're going to need more seats.
Yeah, that's right. Good call. Good call. All right, so what do you got? What do you got for number two?
Number two, I'm going to be an Atlanta Braves homer, and the Atlanta Braves have clinched their sixth consecutive National League East title, uh, taking 3 out of 4 from the Phillies. Um, you know, 2 weeks to go in the season, they're the first team to clinch. You know, they're just good. I don't know if you haven't watched the Braves this season, watch a game. It's a fun lineup to watch. It's Acuna's having a crazy year. Matt Olson's having a crazy year as well, and it's one of the least talked about. Do you know he's like over 1,000 OPS again, Bill? Since August 1st, he has like 18 home runs, and he went on like a 20-something game homerless streak
Hmm.
or something wild.
So
It's
go ahead. I'm sorry.
it's a fun team to watch, and I think the Braves are going to be one of those teams in the playoffs that have expectations. There's
Yeah,
going to be a couple of those, and as a Braves fan, everyone's gunning for him, so a little stressful, huh?
very stressful. And I honestly, and Thomas and I mentioned this yesterday on the Around the Diamond that's on the YouTube page. We talked about the big four that are Hall of Fame. I'm not Hall of Fame. NL MVP candidates. We talked about Acuna, Olson. We talked about Betts and Freeman. And you take three of those out and put them in normal seasons, and the other one will win the MVP hands down. But it's super hard to say Matt Olson doesn't win it, hitting 51 home runs, um, because Acuna is going to be a 40-70 guy. It's hard to not give it to Freddie, who's going to have 60 doubles probably by the end of the season and hit 340 and have over 200 hits. But how do you not justify giving it to Matt Olson or Acuna? So the Braves are really, really good now. Here's my question for you though, Jackson. Okay. You guys celebrated 2 nights ago on the Phillies home field, right? It was awesome. Okay. But the Phillies have a little bit of that chip on their shoulder. Okay. They want you. They're like Apollo Creed and Rocky. I want you. I want you. Right. So are you just slightly nervous about meeting Philadelphia in the divisional series if the Phillies can get past whoever they're going to play in the division?
A little
Or
bit, yeah. Um, but over the past couple of weeks, the Phillies haven't really impressed me either. And I'm not just saying this as a Braves fan. They've looked kind of flat, and they're looking like they're going to have a September that's pretty on par for them for the last 4 seasons, which isn't a good September. So they really need to elevate their play. I know people are talking about how it's a shoe in. They're like 5 games up on a playoff spot, but it's September baseball. Every team's playing hard. There's no gimme games. These guys are professionals. People want to end the season on a good note.
yeah, yeah,
And
yeah, yeah,
and that's what I'm worried about with the Braves. I don't want them coasting, because if you coast, and it's a whatever kind of thing, teams are going to beat you. And if you just treat it like whatever, we're already in, it kind of loses that competitive edge. But yeah, I think the Phillies will want Atlanta in the playoffs. I think the playoffs this year on the National League side is going to be a lot more interesting than the American League.
yeah, yeah. No, I there's some interesting things with the Phillies there, but the Braves are so good. The only thing that concerns me about the Braves is what happened to the Dodgers last season. So the Dodgers clinched right around this time last season and then didn't really have what I'm going to call competitive games because everything was everything, right? Um, and then they went into the divisional series and got taken out by San Diego. That's my only concern. I'm not saying that I'm hoping for that. I'm just saying now you don't have to worry about it. You don't really have competitive games. Your whole job right now is to get young kids work and nobody get hurt. Because the last thing you want is Matt Olson pulling a hammy or something like that and being out for the playoffs, or Acuna sliding head first on his third stolen base of the night and breaking a thumb or something. I mean, you just there's certain things
Yeah,
that you just don't want at this point.
yeah, and I agree. And I think what helps them is, I know for at least for sure 9 of their games are against teams that are in the playoff hunt. They play the Marlins starting today for 3 games. I know they play the Cubs, I think, in the second to last series of the year for
Mhm.
3 games, and then they get the Phillies one more time at home. So 9 of those games, at least, the other team is going to be, fighting for their lives
Yeah,
per se. So
yeah,
it'll be interesting to see how the Braves approach resting their players, because they're not really known for that.
yeah.
If
No,
you can
agreed,
play, you're playing kind of mentality down in
agreed,
Atlanta.
agreed. All right, so here's my number two. Okay, I want to congratulate two teams. I want to congratulate the Kansas City Royals and I want to congratulate the Oakland A's on hitting triple digits. Yes, you heard it here first. Kansas City has 101 losses. Oakland has 100. Congratulations, boys, on getting to the triple digit mark. Yeah, maybe next year, not so much. But no, I'm joking. But I say all that stuff to say that you have ball teams that are going to have a tough season this season. And I'm not picking on those teams. So for those of you listening, I was joking about that. But these teams have a lot of young kids and a lot of young talent, and so they'll make their way back up. But everybody has a rebuilding year. Everybody has a rebuilding couple of years. So just be patient with teams like the A's. Be patient with teams, um, like the Royals. The teams that you worry about aren't the A's and the Royals. The teams that you worry about are having organizational problems like the White Sox, right? And that could be perpetuating into next season or the season after.
Yeah.
So
I, Organizational notes, just on a side note, that the Red Sox did fire their general manager today.
yeah, I saw
Um,
that.
Kyle Bloom is out in Boston. Um,
Yeah,
so it'll be interesting to see how teams that are stuck in the middle, like Boston or the Yankees, even teams like Cleveland, approach the offseason. Because
Yeah,
as a fan of the sport, I'd rather my team be completely bad, kind of like Oakland or Kansas City, to be kind of stuck in the middle, like the Angels or the Guardians, or even like the situation the Padres are in, because you're stuck in the middle and you have players on your team that have talent, and it's like, do you unload your talent or do you try to add every year and a
yeah,
struggle to climb to the top? So
yeah. No, you're absolutely right, and you're absolutely right. Listen, and just as a side note, the Red Sox ownership called me and offered me the job. I noticed that it was them. I sent them to voicemail. Just don't have time, guys. Trying to run Top Fan right now. I don't have time to be the general manager for the Red Sox. My apologies for those of you in Boston. I just don't have time. Sorry, find me time, I'll do it. Find me time, I'll do it. All right, Jackson, what you got for number three?
number three, let's talk about some series being played this weekend
Oh yeah. Oh
for some
yeah.
of the playoff races. Oh, there's some good baseball on this weekend.
Yes, there
So
is.
the first series I'm going to talk about is the Dodgers are hitting up to the Pacific Northwest to play against Seattle, who's
Mhm,
currently sitting in the third wild card spot.
mhm,
We got the Cubs are in Arizona. That's
mhm.
going to be a big series. Miami plays Atlanta. I already mentioned that, among other things. And then that's the only ones I'm seeing for right now. But what do you think, Bill? Do you think this, with 19 odd games left, how do you feel about the National League? Because we haven't talked about the National League wild card, the National League wild card. How do you feel about Arizona or Cincinnati's chances to get in right behind San Francisco? Because they're all tied currently.
All right, so this is going to shock you, okay? But are you ready for you're asking me for predictions, so I'm gonna give you predictions. Okay, here it is. Hot take: the Braves are gonna win the National League East.
No,
Okay. Hot take: the Dodgers are gonna win the National League West. Okay. Hot take: the Chicago Cubs are gonna win the Central. They're four out right now, but 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 their last three games of the season are against Milwaukee. So, I mean, yeah, it's gonna get tight. Now, who gets the wild card? You ready for this? This is going to shock you. Wild card: Philadelphia, Arizona, Cincinnati. Out are the Giants. Out are the Brewers. And the Brewers are four games over the Cubs right now in first place. Pretty crazy hot take, huh? Now, how do I come up with that conclusion? So if you're looking at the Brewers schedule, they start a three-game series tonight at home against the Nationals. They play four against Colorado. I'm sorry, four against St. Louis. They play three against Miami, three at home against the Cardinals, and then three at home against the Cubs. Okay. Now, the Cardinals of late are tuning it up just a little bit because the Cardinals don't want to go from best to worst. So the Cardinals have kind of tuned it up a bit. So they're not packing anything in. That three-game set in Miami, the 22nd, 23rd, and 24th is going to be huge for them. Now, when you talk about the Cubs and you look at the Cubs schedule, everybody asks, well, what about the Cubs? What about the Cubs? The Cubs have three in Arizona. Then they have three at home against the Pirates, three against the Colorado Rockies at home. Okay. Rockies already know they're going to be in last place. They're not trying to prove anything. The Pirates are going to fight as much as they can not to be in last place. Then they end the season three in Atlanta, but Atlanta's already clinched. So Atlanta's not playing their best baseball. They're playing let's not get hurt baseball. And then they end the last part of the season against Milwaukee. So tell me I'm wrong. Tell me I'm wrong with these
uh,
picks.
I I have Milwaukee over the Cubs just based on the fact that Milwaukee, all their tougher games are at home.
I'm going to pull Chris Tucker in Rush Hour 2. Boo! Boo!
I just think we didn't talk about the Brewers' week of pitching that they had against the Yankees, and
Mhm.
they carried it over against Miami. But their pitching's really good, and I think at this point in the season, with they're getting arms back healthy, they have guys that are rounding into form. I think that's what's going to allow them the edge over the Cubs, who's you know only really riding Justin Steele at the front of their rotation as far as starting pitching goes. So I think it'll be close, but I think Milwaukee's going to edge the Cubs out. But I think it will be Philadelphia, the Cubs, and then I'm going to stick with my preseason pick and say the San Francisco Giants are going to slip into the playoffs.
I don't know, Coach. I don't know.
You don't have to know. I have to stick to my guns. It was my preseason prediction, but the Giants are going to somehow, some way, find a way into the playoffs.
Okay. Okay. I like it. I like it. Everybody's entitled to their opinion. I like it. We're allowed to differ. That's what makes us good, right? Um, the Braves are going out in the first round of the playoffs. Dodgers are going to World Series. It's what we differ. It's how we do it. Just
That's
tease
good.
it, Jack.
I was going to say you got to be careful. Dodgers might be playing the the Brewers or the Cubs.
That's true. All right, so here's my number 3. Jackson, who wins the NL Cy Young?
That's a very good question. But I think it's going to be the man I already mentioned. I think it's going to be Justin Steele.
So it's funny that you mentioned that because I didn't even bring him up today in the leagues. Or yeah, I'm sorry, yesterday morning I did in the leagues, and I talked about the NL Cy Young. I said Spencer Stash, um, Zach Gallen, Taiwan Walker, um, or Blake Snell. Um, I Justin Steele could do it, but remember, keep in mind this. Right now, Spencer Stash has 259 strikeouts. Kevin Guzman uh, uh, of the uh, Toronto Blue Jays has 222. Blake Snell has 217. Pablo Lopez has 213. Garrett Cole 213. Oh, those are all the way through. But when you look at the National League, Strider 257, 217 Snell, 200 Peralta, 199 Gallon. Okay, it's really, really hard to say a guy that has 159 strikeouts and steal is going to be your Cy Young Award winner over Spencer Stash. Hard.
As a Braves fan, I do like Strider. I think Strider's issue has been consistency this year. He'll be good for 4 starts and then bad for 3 starts. Good for 4 starts. I just think his ERA is too high. I know the peripheral stats look good. His FIP is like 2.5 or something stupid because strikeouts are involved.
Well, opponent's batting average 206.
Yeah,
That's not bad.
no, it's not bad, but I just think he's kind of shot himself in the foot with a couple bad outings.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the voters really, really like, the traditional, the measuring sticks, the ERA and the whip sort of thing. And I think Steele at a 2.5 ERA, I think he just looks better than everyone else, And especially if the Cubs make the playoffs,
Yeah.
he's got a 16-3 record right now, Bill.
No, trust me, it's very doable. Very doable. Yeah,
He's
I
only
like
he's
the
only
16 and
he's
3
only
record.
he's
What's
only
that?
walked 33 batters in 159 innings.
I get it. I get it. But
That's pretty
again,
good.
my argument is still going to be in this case, my argument is still going to be Spencer Strider with that crazy ERA that he has, not the crazy ERA he has, but the crazy amount of strikeouts that he has. Not only that, but I mean, he's having a good season. He's got what, 17, 18 wins. He's having a good season. So, yeah. So Spencer Stash, maybe Justin Steele. So,
Yeah.
yep. All right, Jackson, honorable mentions.
Honorable mentions. I don't think I have any
Okay,
this week.
okay. So you
Nothing comes
stole
to
one
mind.
of mine. I'm gonna say any other honorable mentions is this. Pay attention pay attention. We've kind of mentioned this before, but pay attention to the Wild Wild West on the AL side. You have three teams separated by a game and a half. Pay attention, pay attention. It's going to get exciting. So
It's going to stay wild too.
it is. It is. It
Because I
is.
think the Mariners, aside from playing the Rangers 7 times or whatever, I think they play Houston one more time, right?
Yes. Yes.
So so it's going to be a dogfight. It's going to get ugly.
Yeah. No, the Rangers still have to play. Their last 10 games are three at home with Seattle. Then I No, that's Seattle. I'm sorry. Seattle. Seattle has three in Arlington, three at home against Houston, and three at home against the Rangers. So it's crazy. It's gonna get nuts. So all right, top fans. I was a little distracted today when we were doing this, and my apologies. I was looking up stats. I was trying to keep up with the stats guy, top fan stats guy, Jackson. I mean, he throws some stuff out there. And ladies and gentlemen, if you don't keep up, man, he just says, fuck this. And so he's pretty awesome like that. So I hope you enjoy your Friday. Jackson, my memory's drawing a blank. How do we get discount codes? Is there a discount code out there for Top End Rivalry?
Use code Jackson to get yourself a Top Fan Rivalry jersey before the playoffs. Something comfy to wear while you watch your favorite team be in the playoffs, or maybe your least favorite team that you're hoping gets knocked out of the playoffs. I don't know what team you root for, but whatever team you root for, you can watch the playoffs. Playoff baseball is great. So, hop on the
Playoffs.
hop on the shop, use code Jackson, get 10% off, get yourself a Top Fan Rivalry baseball jersey, and rock that until baseball season's over. Because as far as I'm concerned, football season doesn't exist yet.
Is there such thing as a baseball season being over though, really?
No, because trade rumor season, hot stove season starts. So
Yeah, yeah. And again, for those of you Bostonians, I apologize. I won't be your GM. I just don't have time, guys. I'm really sorry that I sent your ownership to voicemail, but it is what it is. All right. Just kidding, just kidding. Go check it out, topfanrivalry.com. Couple of things you want to do if you're listening to this. One, subscribe, hit the subscribe button on this and follow Top Fan Rivalry on YouTube. It's free. Come on, what are you doing? Right? You're watching this. I know you're watching this, so it's okay. Number two, make sure you're following us on Instagram. Number three, make sure you're following us on TikTok. Yes, we have a TikTok. Number four, stay on YouTube and follow Chop House Chatter. Jackson and Thomas Brown do a great job breaking down the Braves, and they always have great guests on. When they have guests on, they always do a great job. So if you're looking for some good baseball content, period, but as a Braves fan, don't look any further than that. So,
yeah.
yep. So, all right, my friend, we will do this again next week. Thank you so much, Jackson. We will talk to you soon.
Yes, I got one more note. I remembered my honorable mention. Happy
Yes.
Roberto Clemente Day. That's
Oh,
all I'm
there you
going to
go.
say.
Happy Roberto
Today,
Clemente.
today, Friday, September 15th.
There you
Roberto
go.
Clemente Day.
Roberto Clemente. All right. Good call, Jackson. We'll talk to you soon.
All right, talk to you soon.